it's Darlene. Today I'm going to be talking about the Zig Clean Color Real Brush Watercolor Pens. They're made by the same company who makes their Kuretake Gansai Tambi watercolors, which I've been enjoying recently. These markers are water-based dye ink. They have a brush tip. They're odorless. They come in 48 different colors. They're not refillable, but they're not that expensive. They're about $3 a marker. But what makes them different is that they are extremely blendable, and I'll show you lots of different ways to use them. Now, when I received my set, I just got a box of 12. There's a little seal right here, so don't try to open it like I did and break it on the side. So you just open it at the seal, and then it'll become your storage container. And they each come individually wrapped, so I had to unwrap each one when I got them. And so I just have the main colors here. So you'll see the tips are very, if you can see that, very, very fine tips. So you can get a very fine line, or you can press harder and get a wider brush mark. So anyway, let's go ahead and actually use them. Like most watercolors, they're best used on watercolor paper. So I have heat embossed with some clear powder and black ink some flowers. This is from the Artful Flowers set by Simon Says Stamp. And I embossed them on some Strathmore watercolor paper. So the first thing I'm going to show you is just using one color. So this is the pink. And I'm going to be using it with, these can be used with or without an aqua painter or just a brush with some water. So you can just use them plain. I'll show you how to do that too. So first I'm going to use the single color. I use the pink. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put a little bit at the base because that's where I want the darkest area to be. And then you also want to make sure that you have, like I always do this, a tissue handy so that you can wipe your brush clean of color if you want less color. So I'm going to take, this is just a Ranger water brush, and it's the fine detail one. And I'm going to start in the white area like I always do, and I'm going to work my way into the color. And once I hit the color, you'll see how easily it just starts to blend into the water. And then you just pull it out as much as you need to. You don't have to go all the way to the base. And then I'm going to wipe this off and continue to pull it out so that it's lighter and lighter as I get to the tip. So that's one way to use it. Another way to use it is to blend two colors together. So I'm going to be using the orange and the yellow. So I'll start by coloring the base orange, and I'm going to go about halfway up, and it goes on really smooth and easy. And then I'll take my yellow and I'll start on the other side, so on the outside of the petal. I'm going to work my way, but I'm not going to touch the orange. And then I'll take my water brush and start in the yellow area and just kind of work my water into the cardstock. And then as I get to the orange, it's going to start blending into the yellow. I've got a little bit too much water, so I'm going to wipe that off and continue on down until I get to the bottom. And then you can always pull more out into the yellow and make it as dark as you want. So that's another way to use these. All right, for the next technique, I'm going to show you using the same two markers I just used, except I'm not going to be using a water brush. I'm going to use these as water brushes. So I'll start the same way, where I have my orange at the bottom. And then I'll take my yellow and I'll start at the edge so that I have bright yellow at the edge. And you'll notice as I work my way in, I'm going to hit that orange and the colors are just going to blend together. This is almost like using a Copic marker. So I can use my tissue, or actually I could just wipe it off on paper, and the color, the orange, comes right out of the yellow. And then I can start over and pull more orange out if I want to, as far out as I want, and then I just write on a piece of paper and the orange is off my yellow. So this is my favorite way to use this color. Now another way to use this is with a lot of water and have it blended into a watercolor look. And you've seen me do this many times on some flowers where I'll put two colors of distress markers and I'll just tap it with some water to get them to blend together. You can use that same exact technique here. So I'm going to be using the red and the yellow, so I'll put red at my base and I'll work my way out. And then I'll take the yellow, start on the outside, work my way in, not touching. And then I'm going to take a brush, this just has some water on it, and I'm going to tap the outside and then work my way in, and as the colors touch, they start to blend. And then over time that'll dry and it'll give you a really nice pretty watercolor look. I'm going to go ahead and dry this with my heat tool. And as you can see, this is how you would get like watercolor staining and things like that for that type of look. And you can always add more water. I'm going to take my brush that has a little bit of water on it, and I can add more water to blend it even more if I want to. Dry it, try it again, and they reactivate with water. So it's really easy to get the look that you want. Okay, now if you wanted more of a muted look, you can start with water on your cardstock. So I'm going to start by taking my water brush and I'm going to color, really, not really color, but lay down the water on my petal. And then I can take, this is the purple one, and I can start at the base, and it's already going to be muted because there's a lot more water on the paper already. And then I can just kind of go halfway out, and then I can sort of supplement with a little bit more water to fade it as it gets to the edge of the petal. So that you can use that technique to get a more subtle look. Another technique you can use is to touch tip to tip. So what you would do is you take your darker color and a lighter color, and you take your lighter color and you touch the tip of the darker color. And just sort of hold it there and let it pick up some of this color. Then you take the lighter color and you start at the base, and you're going to start off with some of that darker color and move outward. Now I have found that this doesn't pick up as much color as I generally would like, but it is a more softer, subtle look. Now finally, you can also pick color up off of an acrylic block. So I'm going to go ahead and put my red on the block, and then I'll take my yellow and I'll pick some up and I'll color starting at the base, so that's where the red's going to come out, and I'll work my way out. And you can see that the yellow is coming back into the pen. It sort of turns a little bit of orange, and then it turns yellow as it comes to the very edge. And that comes out really, really pretty. So, you know, the great thing is you cannot mess up your tips, so you can dip them in other colors, but kind of similar to the distress markers and your Copic markers, you can just, you know, write on a piece of paper, and then the original color just starts to come out the brush. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that quick review of how you can use these pens, and I know I'm going to be using them a lot. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.